I want to congratulate you first on Three Pines. What an amazing show, and man, I mean, you get to work with some of the most brilliant actors. Alfred Molina, of course, Sarah Booth, one of my favorite people in the world. Um,
Oh, she's wonderful. Yeah.
she is, and her character is a little, a little nervous, maybe off-centered.
The firecracker.
Was there a long audition to get that role?
I had quite an interesting audition process. I'd actually worked with Emilia Di Girolamo, who's the creator and writer of Three Pines, and I worked with her on a show in London called Deceit, which was for Channel 4. And in her very generous fashion, she reached out to me after we had filmed that and sent me the most lovely message, and she told me about this project that she was writing, and it was going to be filming in Canada, and she knew that I was out there, and yeah, she told me about the books and that it would be coming up. And so for months I kind of burrowed myself in the novels and did all my research, and then I think about 4 months later I got the audition, and it was a really wonderful process to be able to come at an audition with so much backstory that I'd got from the novels, and really be able to bring that into that audition, which doesn't normally happen. Usually you find out 2 days before, and then that's it. But yeah, I had a bit of advance notice, which was lovely.
When you get done with an audition, do you know, hey, I nailed it, or is it always up in the air?
I think with this one, I really felt an affinity for this character when I was reading the novels, and I really felt like, when you start imagining yourself as that person. And so I felt very good about the audition, but you never know. You just never know. And so you don't get too attached because, yeah.
Russell Crowe once told me that he said all actors are professional auditioners, and we stop auditioning when we get a role.
Yeah, we get very used to that process, and you can't kind of bank on something being yours until it's yours, until you're on set and you're filming. Then
How old were you when you got the acting bug?
I think it's always been in me somehow. My father was an actor, and he passed away 8 years ago actually, but I'd always kind of been around that, and he was a kind of larger than life character, and I think that that's something that I was drawn to, and I was drawn to making people laugh, and yeah, so I think from a young age it's kind of always been around.
And you started in theater?
I started in theatre very much, and I had a kind of classical theatre training, and worked with the Royal Shakespeare Company in the Globe, and I did a lot of devising my own work as well. And yeah, it was really moving to Toronto that I started to really get into TV and film, and yeah.
You also have a degree, is it, in medieval languages?
Modern and medieval languages, yeah. I studied.
Does that help you with Shakespeare?
It's pre-Shakespeare. It doesn't help you with anything much.
No.
No, I mean, it was fascinating, but that was definitely a kind of very scholarly pursuit, and I'm much more suited to being in a room with actors, not just reading but performing.
When I read that, I'm thinking, wow, you must just relax with a glass of wine and listen to Gregorian chants all night
That's
long.
right. I'm just reading Parsifal at home, just
Yeah.
chilling out, of a Sunday.
And the reason I brought that up is because I can't think of a reason to, other than you have an ear for language and dialects. Maybe what brought you into medieval languages?
Well, it was something because I studied German, and so as part of that degree, you have to study some of the medieval language of German. So you've sort of got no choice.
Well,
I actually did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. A lot of it is poetry, and very kind of classic medieval themes, which are kind of fascinating to get into.
When was the last time you were on stage for a live performance?
The last time I was on stage was for a show that I created in London, and it was based around the world of roller derby. Mm-hmm. So I played roller derby for almost a decade, and we created this show, and I taught all the performers how to roller skate. And it was a lot of fun. It was a really, really special time and very unusual piece of theatre. And that was the last time I was on stage. Yeah.
Do you enjoy the writing process?
I do very much. I've always been a writer and always enjoyed writing, especially poetry, and even started dabbling in a novel recently. But it takes some dedication, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I come from live theater as well, and I miss it terribly.
I know, me too.
You know, that immediate response from the crowd, and being, you know, with television and all, you're playing to the camera. It's very intimate, but with the theater, you're playing to the back of the house, and it's broader and much more fun.
Oh my God, totally. And that's where I really have always felt myself, is trying to reach that person wherever they are and open yourself up to that. And I had to really learn to not just dial it down for screen, but it's just a totally different set of skills. And I love being on stage. I love the kind of big raw emotions that come from that, and the ritual of being in theatre. And yeah, it's very magical.
But your training in theatre, I mean, you got that, you know, from as you were growing up. You attended the Drama Centre in London as well. That must have been an amazing time of your life, to be surrounded by all these up and coming wonderful actors and being able to sort of play with them a little bit.
It was incredible. It was so full on. And, you know, we'd be there from 8:30 in the morning till 9 p.m. at night. It was relentless and we were exhausted. But my God, what a training. You really came out of it feeling like you were ready for anything, and you were a hard worker because of it. And I think drama school, you know, it's not for everyone, and it's not the be all and end all, but it really teaches you to, you know, listen and watch your fellow performers. It gives you a sense of being in an ensemble and to play roles that, you know, you often don't get a chance to play when you leave drama school.
This portion of Screen Chatter is presented by VP Dental. Check out our great dental plans starting at just $16 per month. Do you follow a certain kind of structure in drama? Are you, a fan of Stella Adler or, Stanislavski?
We did. We read all the Stanislavski at our drama school, and the Uta Hagen, and I love her book. I find it just sort of varies from role to role, but I do like to imaginatively be in a character's shoes as much as I can, and to create, some depth in the character. But I think our training was very much focused on being transformative. So I got very used to being things that were very different to myself. And now I'm trying to just access things that are much closer to myself, because I think that's a missed opportunity if I don't.
Well, I've known actors that, to take things a little too far, for the next 40 days, I'm this guy, and okay, well, yeah, good luck with that. Try acting.
I'd be too embarrassed. Even living in Toronto, I sort of tell myself, oh yeah, I'll go out today and I'll just try an American or a Canadian accent, but I just get too embarrassed. I just think they're going to find me out, and it's all going to go wrong.
Well, you're training to be a voice actress then at that point, when you're doing dialects. Do you do a lot of voice work, by the way? I should ask you.
I do a fair bit. Yeah, I've done some video games and some campaigns for, like car companies and things like that. And I really enjoy it. It's a very fast work, but I think I'm quite good at it because I have a good ear and I do enjoy accents and transforming. So I think I'm adept at it. If I'm
Well, I think you are too, because I've noticed in some of the things that you've done in my looking at what you do as Anna Tierney you do change your dialect a lot.
Yeah, and I mean this role in Three Pines is it's very different, and a lot of family and friends are kind of weirded out by it because it's so different. But that's a good sign. It means they think I've done a good job.
Well, you're doing a great job. It's such a wonderful show, and I would think working with Alfred Molina has got to be, a gift from the gods.
Yeah, he's a really, really special person. And I actually discovered on set that he knew my father.
Oh.
Yeah, they had worked together many, many years ago. And it was a very special moment on set. And when he discovered that he was my dad, and he kind of recounted stories of them working together, and he kind of did this brilliant impression of my father. It was like he'd kind of come back to life. It was bizarre, but very generous man, and really created family on set, which was very important for these stories, I think.
Yeah, I think when you're number one or two on the call sheet, it's up to you to kind of set the pace for the how we treat the extras and how we treat the crew and all of that. And I know I've known Alfred for a long time, and he is one of the kindest people in the world.
Yeah, he really is. He's extremely funny as well, which you need when you just to sustain you. I think it's really important.
When you're going through a script and considering it, do you look for the similarities in the character that you're about to play, or the differences? Are differences important to you?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think instinctively I look for the things that maybe I get an emotional response from, and would use those things to access the role maybe easier. And then I think it's also fun to play against your instincts sometimes when you're exploring a text. So there's all the obvious choices that come to mind, but then it's quite fun to take it in different directions and see what comes from that, because we can get a little stuck in our habits, I think.
Drama and comedy are the same, for really in finding the truth in a role. But they're different when you play them on the stage and in film, because you don't get that immediate, response, on film. You don't know if you're funny or not until the film comes out.
Yeah, or until the take's over. I surprised myself during the filming of this. I said something, it was some kind of ad lib that needed to happen because we had to change the script somehow, and everyone burst laughing when the take was over, and I was like, oh, it worked. It was funny. But yeah.
Are you allowed on Three Pines to kind of riff a little bit?
I think in this particular one, we needed a change of line because the line no longer worked, because it was talking about the physical reference of one of the characters, and the casting actually went a different way. So I had to change it somehow. But I think there was a little bit of room for that, definitely. And our director Sam Donovan, for episodes 1 and 2 and 7 and 8, he led these kind of interviews with the characters as if he were the police investigation coming to Three Pines, and so we got to improvise a bit there, and all of that's in the show, and Amazon really loved that.
Location really informs your character, I would think, too. In Quebec, where you guys are filming, is really a character in this particular series.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was very important to Louise Penny for it to be filmed in Quebec because it's set there. and that was key. And they found the most beautiful setting for Three Pines in Saint Armand, and they gave the town a real kind of facelift. It was pretty and quaint before, I'm sure, but it looks incredible now, and they've done a really stunning job. I mean, they even built an entire pond in the town square and planted trees, planted Three Pines.
They're really committed to making this work.
Yeah.
Catering, how's the catering on the show?
It was very good. Yeah, thanks for asking.
In your career, do you want to step behind the camera and direct at all?
I could see myself doing that one day, definitely. I'd like to get more and more experience on set, I think, on the other side of the camera, but it's something I'm definitely interested in. Yeah.
And every set, I would think, is an education for you to that end, because you're watching different directors, different styles.
Massively. And I mean, on a production like this, you've got, a really good budget. And so, it's one thing to kind of learn on a set like this, but it'd be another thing to learn on an independent film. And that's kind of more likely where someone like me would be starting out as a director, I think. But you never know. Maybe season 3 of Three Pines.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, people do that. They make that part of their contract that you want to direct an episode if you're coming back and get your card. When did you get your SAG card? How did you earn your SAG-AFTRA card?
I have my Canadian ACTRA card, so it's not SAG, but so they have a joint relationship with Equity in the UK, and yeah, I got it through getting my first gig over here, essentially.
Wow. Did you model when you were younger?
Thank you. I did a little bit, I tried, because I was scouted when I was quite young, when I was like 14, and I went to some modeling agencies, but I really don't have the knack for it. I might now. I might be up for some campaigns now, but when I was young, I had no idea what it was about, and I didn't know how to pose for camera, and it just, the whole thing made me feel very vulnerable.
I would think you would be a natural. That's just me. I just think, wow.
Thank you. I think it's a real skill, being in front of a camera and knowing your angles, and I think the kids growing up these days really know their angles and are not shy in front of the camera.
I'm always the before picture when I was modeling. Then they had somebody really good looking be the after picture. And I'm,
no,
that's it.
That's true.
You spoke about the Royal Shakespearean Theatre Group, and wow, I mean, that's something to be not only proud of, but not a lot of people get to perform with them. Did you perform at the Globe?
So the Royal Shakespeare Company performs in Stratford upon Avon, which is where Shakespeare was born. And so I performed in Stratford for several months. We did one play called Queen Anne, which was based on the life of Queen Anne. Mm-hmm. And we did another restoration comedy by Congreve. Yeah.
Had you performed Shakespeare, though, on stage, though? Because that's...
Yeah.
Were you Lady Macbeth? Did you do Lady Macbeth?
No, I've never done Lady Macbeth.
Well, you come out here to Salt Lake City, and we'll put a team together.
Make it happen.
You make it happen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm Falstaff, I think. If I were to.
You'd be a good Falstaff.
Boil it down. I used to think I was Lear, but no, I know.
Lear is the ultimate, isn't it?
Yeah. Patrick Stewart one time told me that He said that's the only role that he ever really got a lump in his throat from doing, is because he respects that particular character so much, because it is about fatherhood. It is about everything that, a man goes through, and he respects that particular play so much.
I know. I think that's one of those roles that a lot of male actors kind of aspire to play. My dad was obsessed with that role as well and would have loved to have played it. And we kind of started to come up with an idea for a modern play based around King Lear, where there'd be a father-daughter story. And yeah, but we never got to finish it.
It would have to be about a drug lord and his daughter.
Make it really modern.
Yeah, make it really modern and put it in somewhere in Philadelphia. Anna Tierney, I just want to thank you so much for your time. I mean, Three Pines is just an amazing show. Again, it's on Prime Video here in the States. If you're watching from anywhere else, just check your local listings for it. But it is just a wonderfully done mystery thriller.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you for all your time today, too. It was very special to me.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure.